Thank you for joining me today. My name is Anna, and today's class is a practice for when you may be feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So I find that when I get overwhelmed, there's kind of a lot of things happening all over the place, and my mind and my energy feels really scattered. So today we are going to be working to kind of like bring everything back into center, to reconnect to our core, to our center, and then from that place of kind of support and stability, being able to find a little bit of opening and space and freedom around it. So let's get started off on our backs. And if you have a block, go ahead and have it handy. And let's start with our feet on the floor. And you can take your block on its lowest setting, just slide it right underneath your sacrum. So that is going to be at the base of your spine. And so you're just going to have kind of the bottom of the glutes off of the block. And then just let the sacrum rest heavy on that block, both sides, right and left. And feel the lower back ribs just start to settle or soften toward the floor. So take a moment here, soften or close your eyes, and just begin to tune into your breath. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And then just for about 5 rounds, we're going to do what's known as a physiological sigh. So that is going to be a 2-part inhale through your nose and then an exhale out. So it's inhale a little bit more, exhale and let it go. And let's do that 4 more times. So 2-part inhale, exhale, let it out. Wonderful. Now let's get back to that breath in and out through your nose. I'm not trying to force it, but just feeling that full expansion of your breath in your ribs. And then keep that breath going. And we'll lift your right knee up over your hip. Good. And we're just going to start to move this right hip, an internal and external rotation, so just rolling it in and out. You can have your right fingers in that hip crease. So noting that movement is coming from the hip, and the knee and the lower leg are just reflecting that. Feel your sacrum pushing down into the block lightly. And then we'll switch sides, so right foot down, left knee up. Fingers can be in that left hip crease. And we'll just start to move that left hip internally and externally. Feeling that movement under the fingers. It's being reflected in the knee. All right, and then we'll set that left foot down. I'm going to slide the block out from underneath you and now put it in between your thighs. So setting up for a bridge here, pushing your lower back ribs down into the floor as you lift the hips up, lightly hugging the block. And then you can have your hands on the fronts of your thighs and just feel like you can almost give yourself a little bit more length in your lower back. As the tailbone reaches toward the heels, the back of the skull moves away from the heels in the opposite direction. We're just lengthening out the back body. You can do some little pulses here. And then hold that bridge. We're going to push into the toe mounds, but lift and spread your toes. And then as you do that, you can reach your arms up like you're holding a tray and then stretch out the wrists, pulling your left fingers back with the right hand. And then you can lower your toes and switch your hands, pulling the right fingers back. Lower your arms and slowly lower your spine, one vertebra at a time. So let's keep the block where it is. It's going to do a little bit of core work here, just bringing us more into our center. Interlacing your hands behind your head, cupping your skull. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, lift up off your shoulder blades. Now look down at your front body and hold those front ribs down toward the floor. Inhale and lower back down. Exhale, lift up off the shoulder blades. You can even have a hand on those front ribs, just gently guiding them down as you zip your pubic bone up. Perfect. Hand behind your head and inhale to lower. Exhale, come up off the shoulder blades. Turn 1 inch to the right, staying off that right shoulder blade. Then take your left hand to the right side of your ribs and just gently encourage and hug those ribs in. It's giving you a little bit more support. Back through center, left hand behind your head. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up. Turn 1 inch to the left from your sternum. The right hand can just gently cup around the left side of the ribs. Hold them in. See if you can't connect a little bit deeper to your abdominals. Come back through center, hand behind your head. Inhale to lower. We're going to do that one more time. Exhale, lift up. Turn 1 inch to the right. Left hand can come to the right ribs. Hold them in as you push those lower back ribs into the floor. Back through center, hand behind your head. Last time. Exhale, lift up. Turn 1 inch to the left. Right hand wraps around the left side of the ribs. Gently holds them in as you push your lower back ribs into the floor. Come back through center, hand behind your head, and release. So we're going to take your block on its highest setting outside of your right hip. We're going to bring the left knee on top of the block. And then if you have another block or a pillow or blanket handy, you can place it underneath your head here. And then stack your hands left on top of right. And we're going to take this left arm and open it out to the left. And back across. So we're just open the arm and bringing it back. And now feel here, kind of a little bit of heat in the abs and that feeling of drawing into center so that we can expand out with the arms and it feels a little bit more organized. And it can feel controlled, not like we're just throwing the arm back. Last time here. And then switching sides, so really gently you can use your right hand to help lift your left leg off. Roll to your left side. Right knee comes onto the block. Hands stack right on top of left. And then we'll just start to sweep that right arm open with control. Just feeling that really lovely opening the right side of the chest. Holding that structure and that container of the core. Moving with your breath there. Right, and then nice and easy, just coming up off of the blocks, and we're gonna come around into a quadruped position on our hands and knees. So snuggling your knees in maybe a little bit more than you think you need to. We're gonna take an open the book variation. So we have this knitting feeling of the front ribs. And then bring the back of your right hand to your forehead and just feel like you can really lift your head up without the chin jutting forward. So we're gonna push down into this left hand and rotate your sternum to the right. So we're just moving in really this T-spine around the ribs that can get kind of sticky. Come back to center, push into that left hand and rotate. So keep going there at your pace. Maybe you lift and open on an inhale, maybe it's an exhale, whatever feels best. But holding that left shoulder blade pinned onto your back ribs. We're not turning from the neck, we're turning from the sternum in the center of the chest. And your gaze just follows that. Now the next time you come up, let's take the right arm, reach it up, and then thread your right arm underneath the left. You can bring the right side of your head gently to the floor, but we've still got this upper lift in the belly and the ribs. And then maybe do a very gentle drag back of the right forearm, just feeling a little bit more around that right shoulder blade. And use your breath to really start to open up any stickiness around your back. Nice and easy. We're going to push into the left hand, come back up into your quadruped. Now, left back of the hand comes to the forehead. We're holding that right shoulder blade on the ribs, knitting the front ribs in. And then push into that right hand as you rotate to the left. Come back to center. Push into that right hand. Turn your sternum to the left. And just notice if you're letting the ribs drop down and your back arch, not gonna feel as good, you're not gonna feel it as much in the ribs. So really hold those front ribs in and rotate. Which might mean that you don't go as far, and that is totally okay. And the gaze is just following the sternum. So this next time that you're rotated left, you can reach that left arm up, thread the left arm underneath the right, coming down onto the left side of your head. And just giving that upward lift with the belly, with the ribs, so we don't have much weight on the head at all. You can do a gentle drag back with that left forearm. Kind of unclogging around that left shoulder blade. And then gently push into your right hand, and we'll come up into our quadruped. So let's tuck the toes under, hold the front body up into the back. Let's lift into a downward facing dog. You can also do this with your hands on blocks. Just give your head a little shake, side to side, maybe forward and back. Breathe into your back and just feel like you could just stretch the whole length of your spine as you push into the hands, but holding the ribs up. Perfect. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, we'll just start to walk your feet forward toward your hands, rising all the way up to stand. So I'm going to have my blocks here handy at the front. You are welcome to follow along or not. So let's take an inhale. Bring your arms forward and up. Exhale, hinge and fold, sitting back into the hips. Plant your hands. Step your right foot back. Lower the knee. Come onto the top of the foot. Inhale, arms lift up. So feel a slight dragging together of the left heel and the right knee. So you feel this energy moving up through the legs, into the pelvis, into the core. Bring your hands floor blocks. Step your left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg up. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Lower the left knee, come onto the top of the foot. Inhale, arms lift up. Just feel that slight dragging together of the right heel and the left knee, bringing that energy upward. Hands come down, floor or blocks. Slide the left foot next to the right. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Plant the hands, step the left foot back. Lower the knee, but not the toes this time. Lift up, and we're gonna go right into some shoulder rolls. So feel here that we are zipping up in the pubic bone. That left glute is working. We're just mobilizing around the ribs, around the shoulders, into these areas that can feel pretty tense and rigid. A lot of the times, especially if we are feeling a lot of stress and overwhelm. And so just letting that go. Bringing the hands down to your blocks. Slide the right foot back, downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up, inhale. Exhale, step it forward. Lower the right knee, but not the toes. Lift yourself up for that 90-90 lunge. And let's roll in the shoulders. You can get the neck involved, but we're holding that stable pelvis. Right glute is on, pubic bone is zipping up. So we're creating the structure and the support that allows us to move freely. Bring your hands down, floor blocks. Slide your right foot up next to the left. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Plant the hands. We're going to slide the right foot back, lower the knee but not the toes, and bring your arms forward. So this is going to be similar to what we did on our backs. But we're going to take this left arm, peel it back, open it up, bring it back. Peel it back, open it up, and back. So keep going there. To bring it back, you can even sweep the arm down. Nice. It's almost like this little, like pulling an arrow back. And feel that we are holding the pelvis steady so that right hip is not moving with us. That right pelvis isn't moving, but the pelvis is pointing straight forward as we turn on top of it. Good. And then take your right hand down, floor or block, hand is directly underneath the shoulder. We're going to hold the shoulder in place, tack the shoulder blade onto your back as you rotate to the left, and the left arm can reach up. Option to stay here, option to lift the back knee. Wherever you are, that right glute is firming. You can let your right ear soften toward the shoulder. And then we'll bring the left hand down to meet the right, parallel your feet to the right, and we're just gonna go into some swirly side lunges. So we're sitting back into the hips. And you can just let your hands slide along the floor. And just letting that feel good. Now we're going to turn to face the back of the mat for three-legged downward facing dog. Right leg reaches up. Now you can bend this right knee, and we're just going to move that hip in internal and external rotation, just like we did on our back. So not moving the pelvis, but we're just moving within the hip joint. That's it. Now keep the leg in internal rotation, so that's the knee coming in toward your left leg, the foot moving out. And we're gonna lower this right knee under the hip for stargazer. Turn your left toes to face the front of the mat. That's it. So your right hand is underneath your shoulder. You're gonna pick this left elbow up, holding that right shoulder blade on your back. And then we're just gonna roll with this. So same thing, other side. Left hand comes down. We roll that left hip into internal rotation, and the right toes point toward the front. Pick up that right elbow. Let your head release. Right hand down, right hip internal rotation, left toes face the front, open up. Keep going back and forth there a few more times. Just feel that we're holding strong in the center. Ribs and pubic bone draw towards each other. We can open up more space, feel more freedom. Now we're gonna bring both of our hips into internal rotation. So knees are in towards each other, feet move away. Tuck your toes and let's lift into a downward facing dog like that. And lift up into your low back. Like feel like you can pull your low belly, pull your ribs up. And then start to walk your hands back as you move your hips into external rotation. So turn the toes out, but that comes because of the hips. So just honoring wherever your hips are able to go, not trying to force that turn out. And then you can be up on your fingertips here. Breathe into your back. You can give your head a little shake side to side. And then we'll heel toe our feet back to about hips width apart. Walk the hands back a little more and then turn to the right all the way around until you're facing the front with the right ankle crossed in front of the left. I have my hands on blocks for this one, but we're just going to move the ribs side to side. And if that's hard to feel, you can always have your hands on your ribs and just like give them a little bit of encouragement. This one can feel like a little bit of a brain teaser if you're not used to it. Nice. And from here, we're going to uncross the feet, step down into the right foot, rise to stand with your left knee up in flexion. And just take a moment here. You can have the hands on either side of the pelvis just hugging in or reach them up. And just take a moment here to feel your strength standing on that right leg, using that right glute. And then we'll step left foot down next to the right, going to the second side. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Plant your hands. Step your left foot back, lower the knee but not the toes, and come up into your 90-90 low lunge. So bring your arms forward, just like we did before. We're gonna take this right arm, sweep it back, open it up. And just notice as you do this, we're not taking the pelvis with us, but we're holding the pelvis steady, moving the ribs and the arms on top. You can add this little sweep down with the right arm to bring you back. So it's almost like pulling back on that bow and arrow. Tapping into our strength, into our support and our stability to find more ease, more space. One more time. Nice. And then bring your left hand down, floor or block. We're going to hold this left shoulder blade from rolling forward, so tack that shoulder blade onto your back, and then turn your ribs to the right. The right arm can reach up. Option to stay here or lift the back leg. Firming your left glute. You can let that left ear soften toward the shoulder. And then taking the right hand down toward the left, parallel your feet for those swirly side lunges. Just letting that feel nice. Going back into the hips. I feel like you just have to sigh when you're doing these. And now we're going to turn to face the back of the mat, three-legged downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up, bend the knee, and we'll start to internally and externally rotate the hip. So without moving the pelvis, just moving within the hip joint, in and out. And then hold it in internal rotation. So that's where the left knee is coming toward the right leg, left foot is out to the left. And then lower that down, coming into stargazer. Right toes face the front of the mat. That left shoulder is over the wrist. And pick up your right elbow. Let your head release. Right hand comes down, switching sides. Right hip internally rotates. Left toes face the front. And pick up that elbow. Okay. Keep going there back and forth. Can even make this into a circle with that top arm. You lift the elbow, circle it around. And then come into quadruped with both hips in internal rotation, so the feet are out, the knees are in. And then tuck the toes, lift up into an internally rotated downward facing dog. You can start to walk the hands back and then roll the hips out into external rotation, so the feet will turn out to whatever degree feels good for you. Maybe you do some little pulses. That's it. And then walk the hands back a little bit more, heel toe, your feet in about hips width apart. Turn to the left all the way around to the front, so the left ankle is crossed in front of the right. Got my hands on blocks here, but you can always have hands or fingers on the floor. And then we'll just move the ribs side to side. Coming back through center, we're going to step down into this left foot, rise to stand, pulling the right knee up into flexion. Just take a moment there. You can compact either side of the pelvis with your hands. You can reach your arms up. But stand tall on that left leg. Feel the strength in this left glute. Nice. And now step your right foot down next to the left. And we're going to come down to a seat on our way to our backs. And as you come down onto your back, Just place your hands somewhere on your body. It could be over front of your pelvis, one hand over your belly, one hand over your heart, hands on your ribs. It's wherever it feels natural. And feel your breath maybe moving under your hands depending on where they are. And feel just a bit of this almost percolating energy under the surface of your skin. And just reminding you that you are here, you're alive. And that you have the supports, the strength, the resiliency to handle, to move through the challenges that you face. And equally as important, that you have the ability to care for yourself in the process. To find these moments in your day to move, to breathe, to nourish yourself. In whatever ways you need. And in whatever way that looks like. And then taking your hands, just wrapping them lightly around the ribs in like a little self-hug. Take a few breaths there. Just sending your body, sending your nervous system the message. I'm safe. I've got you. And when you're ready, and slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And taking your time to roll to your side. And gently lifting yourself back up to a seat. And as we close today, just taking a moment to remind yourself of your ability to check in with yourself throughout the day, even in these challenging moments, and to tune into what it is that you need, even if that is to drink a glass of water or to take a couple of breaths or to go on a 5-minute walk. Whatever it is so that you are able to come back to you, to your core, to your center. So that you can move through whatever challenges that are coming your way. Let's take a deep breath together. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes if they were closed. Thank you so much for spending your very valuable time with me. I always appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this class, please give it a thumbs up and turn on your notifications. Hit subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again next practice.